to intro us, big dog? I'm loading up the whatnot inventory still.
Sure, man. I mean, listen, it is Wednesday, and you ain't got shit to do. Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze, your daily source for anything that's relevant in the hobby. We're gonna give you hobby news. We're gonna give you, what the drama is, if there's any. Our own little spin on it. We'll tell you about what's going on in the various sports. We'll tell you about, what we think of the overall market. Sometimes we'll talk about real estate for 20 minutes. You kind of never know, right?
People loved yesterday's episode, Cage. They like getting to know the man behind the $1 million collection and how he's just a modest man. Just your everyday Joe Schmo.
That's me. More Schmo than Joe, most definitely. I will agree with that. Much more Schmo than Joe. And so they got a peek behind the curtain. They got to lift up the skirt, and they got to take a look what was under there.
They didn't like what they saw.
Let's peel back the layer of the banana of Captain Peely here. How you liking Florida, pal? How you liking? I mean, we did basically. We're in month 24 of this podcast, and 20 of them or so, you were a Mexican. How about now?
Did you think I would struggle with the transition back to the U.S.?
Not so much. I mean, once we realized that the federales weren't going to chase you across the border, I knew that, the difficult part was going to be fine. Where did I think you were going to struggle? The monetary exchange from pesos to dollars was going to be a little bit difficult for you. I knew that.
They don't have inflation. They don't have a Federal Reserve. The cartels there decide the currency.
No such thing as inflation.
There's no inflation.
I mean, they just, you buy what you want. It's the same price all the time. It's more expensive. What did I think? No, I didn't think you'd struggle per se, but I will say, down in Mexico, because, people thought of it as more of like a vacation spot than real life, even though, our listeners knew this was what you were doing. You had basically moved to Mexico. You always had kind of somebody come in and visit or somebody kind of live there. It sort of had like a vacation-y vibe. And while Florida also has sort of like the vacation vibe, I think this was more like, you're on your own, man. It's real life. You're living in Boca. It's not like, oh, everybody come down and come hang out with Andrew and, fill out the fraternity house,
How's it been, man? I've moved a lot in my day. After college, I moved to SF. Okay. Mm-hmm. Came back after 3 years to start a business. Mm-hmm. After that, moved to New York. Actually, during college, I moved to New York for 6 months.
What business did you try to start?
We built websites. My buddy was like a computer programmer, mm-hmm. and he would build websites, and I would be the sales guy. I would build websites, apps. This was in like 2013 when a lot of mom and pop shops either didn't have a website or had one of those websites that looks like Beckett.
All right. Well, Beckett rebranded. They changed their logo, so I'm sure everything's
great. We would do logo
there.
Design. Not a good business, and here's why. It's one of those that you monetize once, but it could go back and forth, iteration after iteration after iteration. But I got it one even better than you. You think that we do these shows, I ask you questions just to kind of, get under your skin, but that's not the case. With Shaq, with this whole Shaq thing, I'm asking this for a reason. And I've been building a take.
A lot of Shaq conversations. Every day.
And you know what it was? I think that Shaq is equivalent to today's Luka. I think the Luka market will not sustain. There's too many of his cards. There's too many of his autographs. There's too many of his patches. And Shaq went on to have a top 10, in some people's mind, top 5 career. One of the most dominant players, changed the game. Everyone loves him. But he's not investable. Luka, to me, seems very similar. Stop. What are you doing right there with your soda?
I mean, LeBron doesn't have the same amount of autos, cards, patches, you name it, from his rookie year and second year. Multiple cards that are coming out and you name it. Steph Curry doesn't have even more because in 2009 you still had Topps and Panini coming into the equation. Different. Why?
So we could talk about like a quantity of cards, but the difference between like the best card and everything else, I think I'll give you an example. Other than RPAs and all that, that's a new thing, right?
Yeah, Shaq didn't have any.
Shaq didn't have any. Prism. Which Luka card do you invest in with Prism? Which one of the parallels do you invest in with Luka? They're all taking away from each other.
Yeah. But I
And
mean,
I think gold is going to be as sought after as we think it will be because there's a ton of gold.
I mean, yeah, each product has its gold, but every year Prism only has one gold with 10 per player. So that could be the one that's held out as the chase. Could be. Listen, I actually like where you're going with this. I mean, I'll take some shots at some of the premises along the way, but I mean, how about a correlation that you probably didn't expect? Luka is a couple years before an interesting economy where the Fed raised rates. Just happened. An overall macroeconomic time. Luka came on the heels of a boom in the hobby where there are junk slabs, a tremendous amount of print runs. Shaq, when was 92, 89, 90, 91 was when everybody was turning the printing machines on, and there were more sets than I can name. I mean, I could probably sit here and name for you how many sets had a Shaq rookie card. It's a lot. And then in 1994, the last time we had a 0.75 basis points increase in the interest rate by the Fed, leading up to an interesting, macroeconomic time, just like I think we are now.
Are you channeling your AHI sports?
No, but I'm telling you that there are probably more correlations between Shaq and Luka than you realize.
Yes, just because I can't explain things doesn't mean I don't know what's going on in
but
here.
The biggest difference I have and why I brought up LeBron instead is that if you told me that you were comparing Shaq to, I don't know, Embiid or Joker or somebody like that, I would understand it, right? Because the position does matter. Yeah,
That's
but the position matters. I mean, Luka is very different from Shaq. Luka is,
No, then people love the center. Right now, we love the James Harden-like point guard, but that could change too.
Also very true. I mean,
and I wouldn't say a Luka type of player has ever won anything. There have been two examples, Harden and Luka.
Well, everyone's a Luka type player now. Everyone's going to be shooting to be a Luka player, and that's what happens. There was no Steph type player either when Steph started playing the way he did, and then people modeled their game after Steph, and you have the
no one can model their game after Steph. No one moves without the ball like Steph, and no one talks about that side of
no one at all. No one will ever do it. No one's and everyone's don't exist in normal people.
What happened on your 3 p.m. work call? I need to know.
Oh, it was a great call. It was an excellent call.
It was a great call.
It was a great call.
Love you. Everyone loves you.
I mean, outside the hobby, sure. Inside, come see, come saw, like 50-50, mess with the right people, I guess. But no, dude, I like the premise. And let me throw my little fun on top of it.
I have more bullets in.
Go.
In the chamber. No, you go. You're first, and
what I was going to say was that if the premise is forget about Luka compared to Shaq and their game and the whole deal. If your premise is that the vast majority of the cardboard that's out there for Luka is not something that will stand the test of time and be a great investment, I think I agree with you. But why stop with Luka? Why not go on to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Connor McDavid and anyone else you want to throw out there who has this multitude of rookies? It kind of goes back to, well, then, everyone should just be buying Montana and Rice because they only had one rookie card. But even
I don't know football and hockey as well. So I try to stay in my lane. I've watched basketball, so I've seen it ebb and flow since 2000 is probably when I started watching ball. Okay. Football, like, I'm still so dumb. How did I miss Brady? Like, Brady seems to me so obvious in retrospect.
Everything seems obvious after it happens.
7 rings? The guy is just a winner. The guy is just a winner through and through. I don't know how I missed that. But I got more bullets in the tank, like I said. We judge Devin Booker. We chastise Ja Morant. We just Jason Tatum, all these turnovers. And when I say we, I mean you, Cage.
That's what I do.
But here's the thing. I went back. I watched some old games, 2000 finals. I've referenced this all week. You guys are probably sick of me. But you know this quote, Cage? In your 20s, you think everybody thinks about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
In your 40s, you kind of stop caring what people think. And then in your 60s, you realize no one was thinking about you in the first place.
I like it.
Cool. You've never heard that?
No.
Never heard that.
Never.
Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill. Great cigar named after that guy.
But, like, dude, think about it. Kobe was 21 at that first championship, okay? Shaq was 28. Shaq dominated partially because, yes, he was a better player. But at 28, you're just a little bit more mature, right? You just you've been through this. We judge these guys, Tatum and Booker, who are Ja. They're 21, 22. We don't know what they're going to be like at 28. When they're a little bit more prepared for the spotlight, for shouldering the burden.
Okay. What does that have to do with Shaq?
What do you mean? I learned that from the Shaq 2000s final. From watching it. And Kobe was a young kid then. Just a baby. 21 years old.
Shaq was a dominant force from the day he set foot in the league. He averaged over 20 points. Did it forever.
Why does this get you so fired up? Because you're a Shaq guy. You're a Shaq guy through and through. And
well,
here I am telling
part
you
of
about
it. But Shaq, you know how you said, "Oh, Brady, you're gonna know. We should have known." You shouldn't have known with Brady. Nobody thought that with Brady in the beginning, right? Brady was a backup. Brady was a nobody, and he got a chance, and he obviously turned himself into something. Shaq is the opposite of Brady. Shaq came out of college, and everyone was like, "This dude is gonna break every single record. This dude is going to be unstoppable." He's like, watching old George Mikan footage. Like, he's just bigger than everybody and athletic. Will he ever learn a hook shot? Will he ever be able to actually have some, legitimate post moves? Not really. But did he need him? Right? People had to basically try to beat him up. They had to hack him. They had to make him shoot free throws. And he could never hit the damn free throw. But Shaq was about the least surprising thing in the world. Right? You brought up guys like Devin Booker. Devin Booker, he could turn into something great, but very different than
Devin Booker to Shaq.
Okay, well, who are you comparing him to?
I had a few takeaways from my little research this weekend, and I'm sharing them with you.
That people get better other than LeBron, who never improved his game.
I see what you're doing. You got some cool DMs tonight to push back on me. Ziggy's in your head. Good. Shout out Ziggs. There could be multiple takeaways from one evening of watching games. That's true. My second takeaway has nothing to do with why Shaq is not investable is we judge Ja, Booker, Tatum, all these guys after this year's postseason, when in reality, if you would have judged Kobe at that same time, when he was basically their same age in an NBA Finals, they did win.
Yeah.
You would have been like, this guy is nothing.
Correct. That shows you the overreaction culture right now. That does not – the card market – is very different than it was then. So you can't do that same comparison. You know what the better comparison is?
Do this. We can learn nothing from history, but we can learn some things from history.
You can learn, right? Because it rhymes, it doesn't repeat. You can learn Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, yes. Churchill, no.
I like it, Twain.
You like Americans, the Brits, okay.
Yeah. So, but think about it, though. The guys you're mentioning, their cards are already steamed to hell, right? Their cards are already expensive. Because people are betting on them. There are people out there betting on Josh Allen. Well, let's use your guys. There are people betting on Tatum. There are people betting on Ja. There are people. Not all of them can win. There's only one direction the cards can go if they don't win. Down. That was not the case before, right? And a perfect example is you see people's cards, and it's not just the last couple of years. I brought up Wiggins. It's a better example for you, right? Because if Wiggins did what he's doing now 2 years ago, his cards would be through the roof. They would have been on that upward trajectory with people investing in them, and they continue to invest in them, the whole deal. I think Wiggins is a great example of he came in with a lot of hype, and he didn't immediately deliver, and the cards lost value. Those cards were expensive. Wiggins' cards were expensive. Take a look. Take a look at Wiggins' charts. And even with a championship, it doesn't matter. Even with a championship where he was a real hell of a contributor, the price is slight bump. Probably not where they were when he was being steamed up in the beginning. So we're in a very weird market. We're in a market of, I'm going to invest in a guy because I want to sell it tomorrow, a month, 6 months, next year. right? Most people who are buying Mahomes right now are not looking to save the Mahomes cards until after he's out of the league. And if you think they are, I'm going to sell you a bridge here in Brooklyn. Okay.
What's the longest you've ever held a card?
I own Babe Ruth cards for decades, but that's different because they're not playing. How long have I owned a card of an active player is a different story. I have to think about that for a second. But the truth is people are buying.
You held Drew Bledsoe through his entire career.
I've held Drew Bledsoe forever. Thank you for that loss. Tremendous loss. I should have seen Brady. No, but you understand what I'm saying. I hope
if only you would have got held back in college.
Yeah, man, forget about it. If I was just an idiot and I was collecting Brady instead of Bledsoe, I'd be the richest MFer in cards. So no, but think about what I'm saying, man. And it jives with what you're saying. It dovetails with what you're saying about Luka, right? Because Luka's prices, even the high-end shit, right? His 10, 99 RPAs are priced like LeBron. Okay? I mean, that is insane. Insane, right? What he has to win MVPs. He has to win championships. And I mean, it's crazy. It really is.
Do you think he's going to break 70 points in a game?
He might, but breaking 70 points in one game, doesn't really do it for me, at least.
What does do it for you, Cage?
Sustained success, both individually and for your team. Somebody who wins MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, and wins championships. Believe it or not, Tim Duncan. Another guy who gets no hobby love at all.
You don't even own a single Tim Duncan card.
No, I don't.
I do, because I'm a collector, and you just make money in this.
I mean, you collect, I'll do what I do, and we'll see whose wallet gets fatter by the end of the year.
You started with a fatter wallet and a 10-year advantage.
This is true. Some would say you should be able to be more nimble. You're young with less to lose. Some of those gambles should be paying off. Others would say, it is what it is, man. I mean, listen, I love where you're going with this. I really do.
I don't even know where I'm going with it, so how could you know?
What you're saying is that the lesson to be learned from Shaq's cards is that even the guy who was a dominant force, who has numbers like crazy, right? They're mass produced. There's so many of them. And even if Luka has those type of success, big man aside, even if he has that type of success, people will probably look at his cards and be like, I don't know, there's so many to invest in. Some of the Prism base, maybe even the Prism Silver, is an almost uninvestable card because there's so many of them, right?
I think something that might happen is, let's say he has all this success and people holding his cards with that success will be like, his cards should appreciate. And I think there might be a frustration if they don't, because there's such a dilution of like, well, I own the blue, you own the red, and there will be some, but it might not be, the juice might not be worth the squeeze.
I agree. Everybody is looking for the next generational talent. And sometimes that doesn't happen, right? There's not guaranteed to be a Brady right now in this year's release.
Yes, there is. It's Herbert. He got bigger. He got stronger.
That's 3 years ago's release.
He's been
2
training.
years ago's release. And you understand what I'm saying, right? I mean, when you buy the cards, Pickett or Zach Wilson, I'm combining the last 2 years, doesn't necessarily mean one of them will be Brady. And we price them like somebody's going to be Brady. Generational talents are that way for a reason. You've done research on Shaq. I'm doing research on LeBron, which is interesting because I still don't like him. But what he's done is amazing. And we talk about like top 10, top 2, top whatever it is, like the whole deal. Like, the true GOATs are the difference. Let me ask you something. If you want to put Steph Curry in the top 10 with LeBron and the whole deal, right? We talked about that, and we'll go back to Shaq and the like. If you're an NBA player who wins 2 MVPs, 3 finals MVPs, you're an all-star 10 times, all-NBA 10 times, and you win 6 all-defensive team, all defense. Are you a Hall of Famer?
What do you mean? Yeah, you 2 MVPs?
2 MVPs, 3 finals MVPs.
For sure.
10 times All-Star. You're a Hall of Famer. You're probably a top 20 player of all time with that resume, right? What I
Who
just
is
told
that?
you, that resume,
Is that Pavlicek? We're not doing this again.
that's the difference between Steph and LeBron. So everybody who is moving Steph into the top 10 and saying, oh, maybe he's as good, he's going to be LeBron, he'll win a championship next year. LeBron has 2 more MVPs, 3 more finals MVPs, 10 times more All-Star. He was an All-Star 10 more seasons.
I think he
10
played
more on. He did. He played 6 years longer.
I think LeBron should have had more MVPs. There was a point there where he was the best player in the league.
And even with that, he has 2 more MVPs.
4, right? He got 4.
So, I mean, listen, there's a gap. And I only bring that up not because people want to talk about, oh, Curry's going to...
Between LeBron's hairline and his forehead?
There might not be a LeBron for a while. And yet we're buying, John Morant cards and Luka cards for, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. I understand what you're saying. LeBron is baked in, but Luka might be Shaq because the cards are sort of more like Shaq type of production. What's the Luka non-RPA rookie to buy? Prison?
That's gold.
Gold. Yeah.
I'm not joking, but other than that, what would you say? Not as optic.
I'm asking you. Obviously, what I'm talking about is just like a regular rookie because the answer is who the hell knows what to buy, which is the same answer as Shaq, which is making your comparison.
Cage.
Thank you for helping.
I don't know
what. Thank you for helping me make your point for you.
Well, you do it in such a lawyer way. You put my brain in a pretzel. I don't even know. I don't know. What have you learned from doing an episode every day for 715 episodes?
Consistency matters. What have I learned from doing an episode every day for 7 to 15 days? I don't know. What have I learned? I've learned that I was wasting an hour a day before 2 years ago, clearly.
You can do a lot more in a day than you think, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can always find time in the day to do a little episode, do an hour's worth of stuff, Yeah.
I was thinking a little bit today, like the hobby's funny, right? Like I like the hobby. First, I think the people it consists of really smart people. That's why there's so many call outs because it's not like ditzy people. It's very intelligent people. Mm-hmm. I think at the same time, there's an element of jealousy that has like an undercurrent, right? Of people because dude, think about a lot of the people who've built success in the hobby, right? And newfound success. It's not like it's easy. And the reason I was thinking about that today is I got a text. One of our community members I like and respect a lot. He runs a business in PA, and he was like, "Dude, I've done two episodes of Whatnot, and there's a ton of packages to ship out. This takes way longer than I thought." Right?
Right.
But think about that, man. Think about all these people, whether it's influencers, breakers, LCSs, whatever it is, that do get some shit. Well,
of course.
They're putting out content every day. It's not whether you agree with the content or not. It's a lot of effort to chop it up, to record it, to edit it, all that stuff. Doing shows, shipping stuff. It is actually an 8-12 hour a day job in a lot of cases.
Of course.
And I think there's an element of like, I would say 50% is right, the call outs, but also there's a little bit of like jealousy of like, damn, these, like, I kind of want to do that, but I also know how much work it takes to do that.
I agree. No call outs. The hobby's fun, man. But you're right. Some people in the hobby, it's a lot of work. I mean, and people get to see it's fun and the events and the whole 9 yards. But like right now, leading up to the National, there's a lot of people working their butts off. You know what I mean? A lot of people getting ready for the show. A lot of people getting ready for the events, getting ready to build out their booths and stuff like that. It's, it's fun, but it's a lot of work. People, what cards, pricing them, you name it, the whole deal.
Don't you think we should call that out, though? Like, we could do a lot of call-outs on, like, wrongdoing.
So
but
call it out. Tell me how you would call it out.
What I just did. I just think there's a lot of businesses that I'll give you an example. We'll go card ladders since we bring them up. We could even go Don Diego. We could go Backyard Breaks. Those are the 3 that come to mind.
Okay.
An influencer, data tool, and breaker. I think all 3 of them, they know who they are. They're strong-willed, strong-opinioned, right? And they do things their way. And there's some people support, some people are neutral, some people are against. But all 3 of those, and I think those are all 3 new businesses. We don't even realize Card Ladder is a new business. 2 years old, right?
Correct.
Dude, how much effort did Christina put in to build up Mint? Extra effort, right? Dude, Don Diego, she grew from 0 to 25,000 followers, Cage. But she puts out a ton of content, edited content, presentable content. She's on Whatnot. She's like shipping in all these packages from Asia. Backyard Breaks, from 0, they've grown and they have maybe 15 different breakers. They're 50K on Instagram. They're shipping out tons of product. There's so much room for mistakes and errors and all that stuff. My point is all 3 of those businesses get a little backlash, but all 3 of them, I think it's also important to at least acknowledge the hard work it takes to build a business.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, I think any world out there, businesses are not the easiest thing to do. They're all gambles. I mean, restaurants, cafes, most of them close down. Not only do I think it's difficult and a lot of work to build up what they've built, it'll be difficult to stay. Especially the bigger ones, people like you've named, Card Ladder, Backyard Breaks, Don Diego. Once they get up into that, 20, 25, 30, 35, however many thousands of followers they have, there's an additional spotlight shined on them, right? Every move they're making, all the stuff they're doing is under a microscope. So, yeah, that makes it even tougher. Even if you're able to successfully build out a business, it's almost like every little maneuver you're making also now is looked at which, by the way, I'm okay with. You know what I mean? That's part of the business. You're going to succeed. It's okay that, that the people who you're supposed to be providing a value to, are going to call you out on stuff. If you're shilling auctions or if you're, if you're, not sending out the cards that are being hit in your break, this community is going to tell you you're doing it wrong. And sometimes how you react.
Do they tell you that you're doing it right, though?
No, definitely not. 100% not. But that's the world we live in, not just a hobby. People want to knock people down. They don't want to build people up. That's the way it works.
In the sense of like you should baby them. But I'm saying it, I guess, from this angle. Like you'll show me incentives. I'll show you kind of what happens. I'll show you the results. Mm-hmm. I think we should at least acknowledge hard work. I think we've stopped acknowledging hard work. I think we think success, and thank you for leading me here. I think we think success is either all luck or luck and scamming, okay? Or luck.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's important to also acknowledge the hard work that goes on behind the scenes that I think people don't see.
Okay. So we're 28 minutes in. Take the next 2 minutes to acknowledge some hard work for some people.
Dude, fuck you, man. You show up every single day for 715 episodes.
What? I don't even look at this as work. This is, my wife is thrilled that I do this because I get to talk to somebody else besides her about the hobby. And I think, somehow not only is the fact that we, we don't give praise or kudos to people who are working hard and succeeding on it. We also sometimes lose the fact that most of us are here because it's fun. The last couple of years, we had a lot of people come into it, because it was a place where you could basically, do whatever you wanted and make money. Invest in anything you wanted and make money. You want to put some venture capital in something in the hobby, go for it. It's going to make money. You want to buy somebody, great. It's going to make money. Here's where
everybody made money though. I think you keep saying that, but I think it's survivors. I think it's like the survivor's fallacy. Like I don't think everyone made money. A lot of people came in last February. Did everyone that entered into Top Shot make money because Top Shot went balloon?
So that's going to be the difference, right? People who came in the last year or so, they had a tougher run. They definitely did. Because
so you don't think you ever Einstein? We'll quote Einstein for you.
Nice. I like Einstein.
The most important decision you can make is to think if the world is a good or an evil place, a good or bad place. You've heard this?
No. That's why I want you to tell me it.
That's the quote.
That's the whole quote. Why is it important to think of it as evil or bad? It's not.
The most important decision.
Very gray.
It's gray.
The world is as gray as it gets, man.
All right, fine.
Very few people are either all good or all bad. Very few. I might
I
have met
think
3 in my life.
I think
Most people,
99.9% of people are good.
okay, not all good.
Not all good.
Not
Not
all good.
perfect.
Well, nobody's perfect. You ever heard that one? I mean, Sir Isaac Newton said that, I think. I don't know. We're just throwing names out today. That's the cookie guy with the figs in it. Nobody's perfect. No, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. I do. I understand it. I mean, there are people who are working hard. I think the people who have made it in the last year, they're working even harder. And the people who stay in this hobby for the next year or 2 or however long, they're working even harder. I think the people who were in it and were putting in the groundwork are being rewarded now. Like Car Collector 2 is a good example, right? You want to talk about like humongous amount of humongous amount of followers, right? And just based on that, right? Obviously, he was here for a while through a thinner time, and it probably wasn't that easy. It wasn't, wasn't like shooting fish in a barrel for a while.
I don't understand this longevity argument, right? So, like, imagine if the old guys in the NBA were only nice to the old guys, and like anyone who came after them wasn't.
But no one. I'm not saying nice. I'm not saying nice at all. I think basically what I'm saying is more.
But that's the theme, because these are new people in the hobby. They don't deserve as much credit as some people who've withstood the test of time.
Think about it more like yours, right? The people who are playing basketball now are not going to give you their all because they're getting max contracts from day one, whereas some of the players in the league now appreciate their max contracts a little bit more because the first half of their career, they were making shit money by comparison. That's the where I'm going with it. Not that the people who are new suck. It's the people who are new now, like you say, they don't have an appreciation for the older players who were not making this kind of money and they had to earn it.
So a bimbo and a lawyer met at a bar, and I think we got somewhere. I think what we're saying here, Liquor Nation, is for the new people, don't take shortcuts. Ride out the lean periods. That's where you learn and get better.
What I learned today is you have to listen to multiple episodes to get our jokes and our tie-ins, because if you don't listen to all our episodes, you won't understand that whole thing I just did about Andrew with the max contracts. That's from like a week or 2 ago.
That's sophisticated as shit.
We tie it all back together, man. It all links back in. But no, I think you're right. That being said, sometimes the old dog has a hard time learning new tricks. And we see that all the time too with, old guys in the hobby who didn't want to grade, guys in the hobby who don't want to get online and don't want to be on, don't want to have an Instagram page. There's an entire world of breaking going on right now that some would say is continuing to prop up the hobby during an interesting economic time. Breakers aren't losing money right now, I don't think. Although I'm starting to see more posts and stories from breakers posting that they have product, that if other breakers want product from them, to contact them, which is interesting because you'd figure they would just break it themselves. So that I guess we can talk about that. But yeah, man. I mean, there is. I used to say something, right? We have sayings. This is the episode of sayings. Here's a Cage-ism, right? I used to say it to my grandparents, and they thought I was an idiot, and my saying made no sense. But I'm going to say it again, and you see whether or not you understand this. They used to tell me that youth was wasted on the young. And my response back to them was, experience is wasted on the old. Do you understand that?
You came out the womb that witty?
No, I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I was just trying to come back with something that made no sense at all, but they kept saying it to me, so let me say it back. But the more I think about it, the more that makes sense.
How so?
Right? Well, you have experience when you're old, but you don't have the ability to utilize it, was what I was trying to tell them. Right? They're trying to tell you youth is wasted on the young. You're young, you have so much time ahead of you, but you're young, so you're stupid. So you have all this ability to make mistakes and blah, blah, blah. You make so many mistakes. Youth wasted on the young, right? Imagine you could combine the experience of the old people and the youth of the young. You'd have a perfect scenario. You would avoid making pitfalls and mistakes. You'd be able to learn from the lessons of the old people. Whereas the old people, they've made all their mistakes, but they're about to die, grandparents. So they don't have the time that youth has to learn from their mistakes. Now think about that saying, because the hobby is a fun microcosm of that. We have old people like me, right, who have made mistakes. We have young people like you who are an idiot.
are a mistake.
So maybe we mush it all together and we figure something out. I don't know.
Guys, you're going to get a real treat. Tomorrow, Cage is selling on Whatnot. So Thursday and Friday, Cage will be selling on Whatnot, 5 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to join him.
What did we talk about today? Because I have no idea. I'm leaving this episode more confused than when I started.
Cage, it's the dog days of summer.
But I want to buy Shaq cards. And I sell my Luka.
Shaq cards to the moon. You heard it here first. My Luka. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135. Is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luka Nation.